Voting is a right that must be preserved and protected at all costs. Of recent, we have all witnessed how Malawi Congress Party, through NRB and MEC, are trying hard to suppress the will of Malawian in the next year's elections. They set few 40 and odd registration machines in the northern and southern region, while the central region has enjoyed speedy and efficient machine, and we have never heard of people sleeping at the registration center. Yet in the southern region, people, bona fide citizens of the country, who many of them lost their IDs due to Cyclone Freddy, spent days and nights waiting for their turn to get registered. We have all heard NRB's rude responses whenever they are challenged with questions to explain on the same. But as Malawians, we are not surprised, as NRB operates the office of the President and Cabinet, whose principal is a candidate for next year's elections. And this is quite interesting indeed. This is why we are calling all Malawians of goodwill, the donor community, and development partners to join us and all opposition parties in echoing what the US government has said, as reported in today's newspaper. No eligible voter, according to our constitution, should be barred from voting. If we want peace to reign, the best is to stop using NRB IDs to your advantage. We are aware of your plans to rig the elections, but let me warn you, in case you don't know, you are exposed. Information is coming from your inner rooms, where you are discussing your evil motives. You will achieve nothing, and what you are doing, you will just anger Malawians more. Malawians are already tired of you, and you will not manage to force this marriage anymore. To my fellow Malawians, don't be afraid. No one will rig next year's elections. We have our eyes everywhere, and the donor community has its eyes everywhere too. If this calls to have everyone eligible to register to vote, even if one does not have a national ID, we will engage gear too. And they will not like it. We have been patient enough, and Malawians are counting down that they have only less than 11 months of suffering before they are liberated. We can't sit and watch and allow their suffering sentence being extended by another 5 years. We will not allow that. Women are ready to vote. Youth are ready to vote. Malawians are ready to vote. The suffering Malawians are ready to vote. And lastly, before I hand over the mic, I want to send a serious warning to MEC. We know some of you are there to suppress the will of Malawians in exchange of whatever favors. I want to warn you that you will not find peace. Let me repeat, you will not find peace. We have heard of a smartmatic tech company you have engaged, which has a very bad reputation in managing elections in other countries. This company should not be anywhere near our elections. We are not fools, and don't test our patience to the extreme. With these few remarks, I thank you so much.
The national registration hitches. The Malawi Electoral Commission intends to roll out registration of Malawians to vote in the 2025 general elections using the national identity card as the sole form of identification. The MCP government is systematically and without shame committing electoral fraud. There exist so many Malawians that the National Registration Bureau has failed to register effectively, disenfranchising the voters and failing to uphold the constitutional right to vote. The National Registration Bureau has been embroiled in a mess with reports of biased registration processes and the registration of minors and foreigners. This not only undermines the integrity of the electoral process, but also poses a threat to national security. Number 5, impunity, violence, and political arrests by the Malawi Congress Party government. The MCP government has also shown a blatant disregard for the rule of law, using impunity and violence to suppress opposition parties and silence dissenting views. There have been numerous incidences of violence against members of the Democratic Progressive Party, with little to no consequences for the perpetrators. The case of Mbowe hacking and beating of our supporters and many more examples are there for everyone to see. This displays a worrying lack of accountability and respect for the rights of all citizens and the rule of law. Moreover, the government's use of selective justice and political arrests to silence the opposition and the critics is a clear violation of human rights and democratic principles. As we speak now, senior members of our party have been targeted for arrest to silence them as we approach the general elections in 2025. This has created a climate of fear and intimidation, hindering freedom of expression and the people's right to hold their leaders accountable. DPP's call for action. Drawing on the Democratic Progressive Party's experience in government, we demand the following urgent steps to address the abuse of public resources. Number 1, immediate suspension and firing of officials. President Lazarus Chakwera must suspend Secretary to the President and Cabinet Ms. Colleen Zamba. Minister of Transport Honorable Haram and Minister of Agriculture Honorable Samuel Kawale, to allow for independent investigations into their involvement in questionable of their procurement deals. And it happened to our dear brother Honorable on my left hand. In fact, the Malawi Congress Party was up front agitating for the resignation of Honorable Tapatua Japonda. Why are they not doing it now? Parliamentary investigations. Parliament should immediately launch an independent investigation into the awarding of large contracts, ensuring open interrogation of all individuals involved, including foreign suppliers and financial institutions. 3, disclosure of restricted tender contracts. The government must disclose all contracts awarded through restricted tenders, particularly for road construction, fertilizers, and fuel, while hiring independent auditor to verify the legitimacy of these contracts, because we believe most of them are fake. Number 4, investigations by SCB and Financial Intelligence Unit. The Anti-Corruption Bureau and Financial Intelligence Unit must investigate potential corruption, tracking funds to identify the beneficiaries of these deals. Number 5, economic recovery and food shortages. The government should present a clear plan for economic recovery, addressing food shortages and reducing wasteful borrowing and travel by our president. Number 6, we demand the government to stop selective justice and arrests. Malawi Congress Party should with immediate effect stop intimidations, threats, and arrests and selective justice against members of the opposition and general citizenry. The police should desist from being used by the politicians who Malawians have resolved to put them out of the government next year in 2025. Number 7, we ask the government to register all eligible voters through the NRB. Government should, through the National Registration Bureau and the Malawi Electoral Commission, ensure no individual eligible to vote has been left out of the registration process. We also urge our diplomatic partners, including the United Nations, United Kingdom, Germany, Norway, and the European Union, to actively pressure the government to restore accountability. DPP remains committed to restoring good governance in Malawi and reaffirms its readiness to provide technical and strategic support to help the country overcome this crisis. We are prepared to work in the national interest to stabilize the economy and rebuild public trust. Malawians cannot continue to suffer while a few benefit from the plunder of state resources. We demand an immediate end to these destructive practices and a return to the principles of good governance, transparency, and the rule of law. There ends my reading. Thank you so much.